Hello, hello, everyone. This is episode number 7 of the Coming Together of Greatness, the podcast with myself, Adriana, and Joanne. And we are always excited to have these deep, interesting conversations that for us are like, or at least I'm going to speak about me. It's like, I wanted to say therapy, but it's so much more than that because we are feeling into the body. It's like we created something for us to build that greatness and experience inside of us and also to put it out into the world and to move with it. And I want to believe, and I believe that what Joanne feels as well, is like thriving and growing and expanding at the same time. And today episode, it is all about perspective. Perspective, I've been for a while now, probably 1 year and a half. I was thinking and even seeing, when you put your focus with your brain and you see that dog or the red car everywhere. So when you work on something, you can test that for yourself, everyone, if you want to.
Mhm.
Then you will hear perspective here, perspective there. And it's so true because I've working on me to see how I go, like, as I said before, hitting record, we have a situation and then we are meaning making machines, all of us, like humans. And then you come with whatever perspective you have and whatever you feel that's true for you. But from other side, from another angle, other person comes and say, oh, this is not actually what I'm feeling. And then for you as well, while once you are out of the emotional richness of that situation of the yeah, then you can
Mhm.
see it with different eyes from another angle, another perspective. So
Mhm.
this is a very high topic. What
Yeah,
do you feel, Joanne, about it?
yeah. Hi, everybody. Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. I think how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive our life and reality and others, um, basically reflects back our perception. It really does, and it's really fun to play with reality in that way, like putting certain things that you might want to see out into the awareness and then just noticing if it comes back, and you can make that mean anything. Or you can just let it be a fun game that you're playing. And
Hmm.
what you're saying is, we are meaning making machines. We love to make meaning out of everything. And truly at its core, none of it means anything until we put our meaning on it. A recent game I was playing, so I think I was telling a client recently because I invited her to play the same game, was um, to play with purple Teslas. I'd heard of somebody else doing that. And we have Teslas here in Ireland, not a huge amount, but generally they're white or black.
Hmm.
And I
Same
don't know
here.
how, so, yeah, but you just put out into your awareness purple Tesla and just see them pop. And it's like, where did they come from? And it's a really interesting thing to play with yourself. Things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done this actually, but not with Tesla, with the Mini Coopers, and
Oh, okay.
not purple. It was green, and
Nice.
it's so interesting because normally I didn't see a lot of Mini Coopers, or
Hmm.
the sun. They were everywhere, but
Everywhere.
I couldn't see the green one. More like not that green like grass, but green in general, different like how you say them, different variations of green. And I started seeing them, but I did it like a manifestation. Like I I was like a fact. It's a fact that, let's say, this is a glass of water, sparkling water. Then it's a fact that I have a bracelet in my hand. Then it's a fact that I'm seeing a Mini Cooper. Then it's a fact that I can make a lot of money.
Hmm.
So you teach your brain, and this is not mine. I've learned it from somebody on Instagram, a manifestation coach, and I was seeing them everywhere. So it's so true. Where you put your focus on, your energy goes toward that. Your awareness is going to be like on
Hmm.
point once you decide.
And it is a decision point. And like we were saying before we hit the record button, it's really fun to play like that with yourself and with awareness. And then when we start to use it to bring something to life that we really want,
Hmm.
this is where we can then trip ourselves up because the meaning we make of ourselves, the meaning we make of the thing that we want or the situation we want, the perception we have about it all and all the conditions and rules that we've put in place for that thing, then we believe we're not good at manifesting or we're not worthy of it and all of that. And that in itself is
Mm.
a perception of self that we get to change. It's coming back to the self concept, it's coming back to the identity.
Yes.
So, and that's where I believe, and I think you believe as well, is where it all begins. That self concept, that true identity, that
Yeah.
true self.
Yeah. And I love it the way you said it because we had this conversation before hitting record is exactly that. So it's so crazy that the brain goes, it's like you like with your feelings, with the emotions that you feel in your body, or at least this is how I'm feeling it. So let's say I want to manifest money in my business. That's a hot topic
Mm-hmm.
because the business goes through you all the time, like everything in that business. And we're going to talk about this in details in an episode. Um, so I feel like, oh, now I'm putting pressure. So I have an expectation. I need to make this kind of money. And then I feel that pressure in my body viscerally. And then the brain is like, oh, I don't know if this is possible. And it makes a meaning out of it. It's hard. It's going to take a long time. It's going to be that and that. But if I say I want to buy this necklace that actually I bought yesterday, I'm just going to put the order like write to the lady that's a store here, but she has Instagram not far away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I write to her, oh, I love this necklace. Can you please tell me the price? Blah, blah, blah. She says how much. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go. My mother will be at the store, please come. So it's done. I don't have any attachment to it. How it's gonna be, da da da, anything. Only if I'm gonna arrive in time. If not, I'm gonna go tomorrow. That's perfectly fine. But if it's something important, exactly what you said. But when you shift this perspective and you kind of we here in the manifestation world, let it go, don't attach to it. And I believe this is exactly it is that perspective of it's done
Mm-hmm.
because I say so. And if it's not happening the way that I desire or the way my attachment is there, it is because it will happen a different way, a better way, maybe even. And I'm okay also with that because
Mm-hmm.
I trust myself, because I believe in my greatness. But this is the work that's the most difficult to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
to really
And
stay in that identity, as you say.
yeah, I love that. And I heard my teacher, someone saying it recently, and I've heard it before, and it's so true that when we are choosing to remove the importance out of things like that, all of these things, and when we're choosing to live as our true selves or to come home to our true selves, that she said that truth is expensive. It's going to cost you everything that you
Oh
thought you
my
were.
goodness, yeah.
The old identities, the old behaviors, the old that. And it's the cost of that that where we get stuck in, I believe. Because it feels so big. There's so many
And real,
feelings and thoughts. Sorry, say that again.
real.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And are we willing to pay the price of that to actually truly live in the truth of who we are, live in the greatness that we are? And because it's not logical, we can't really logic our way out of it. We move through it. I don't know what other
Yeah,
way to say we move through it.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also dropping the importance of the emotions that we
Mm.
feel. But like we were saying before we
Mhm.
hit record, they are real and they're also not, you know, they're relevant and they're not. And it's finding the avenue within yourself where you can allow an emotion to be, drop its importance, and yet know the feeling of when you are moving. It's yeah, it's
Yeah, no, no, I know exactly what you're saying.
yeah.
I know exactly because I've been on that journey and route so many times. And I was thinking, you're gonna hear me in this podcast talking about my kids. I'm a mom of three. It's my life, so I'm gonna give
Mm-hmm.
these examples. And I learned through examples. So you can see like the twins, even Julia, when they were little, big emotions, and it's the end of the world, and all of a sudden they are, yeah, so happy playing again. It's exactly that if you put so much, and it's so interesting that we as parents teach them. I always say to them, like the emotions means comes and go. You cannot get attached to it because it's like the energy. Now you feel something and then the energy shifting because it's shifting in your body. Because I don't know, you see a butterfly and then you're so excited about it. And you
Mm-hmm.
forgot about whatever was in the other moment. So it's normal. This is the human nature. You
Yeah.
will feel them and let them go and feel them and let them go. And in that, like every time what I'm trying to do is to ground myself when I move through
Mm,
that. Because if not, it's like that loving witness that I always talk about in my sessions. You get out, it's like kind of a out of body experience, and you look down on yourself, not look down in a bad way. I mean,
yeah,
you look
I
at
love
yourself,
that.
you're
Yeah.
somewhere here, and you just see the emotions like in a movie that
Mm,
come and go and come and go, and you can decide. I had and still have a coach that always says, you we all know that we can choose our thoughts and you can decide where I'm like coming back in my body. I
mm,
decide to be in my greatness. I decide to feel fear and doubt. And then I'm
mm.
moving with that and it's going to be a big loop. But if I'm grounded and I'm deciding and I'm knowing who I am and let go of whatever emotions in that moment, I don't make a meaning. I see it letting go and then I'm back to me, to myself again.
Yeah, I love that. And that's a process, for want of a better word, that I would use as well. It's I think I shared in one of the episodes before that I and we can be in the middle of an internal shitstorm, for want of a better word, and we can still be, in those moments, be declaring the truth of who we are. I know who I am. I am the all that is. Everything is working out perfectly for me. I
Mhm.
love my life, whatever it is.
Mhm, mhm,
And you can still be saying that and allowing the truth of that to kind of shift your internal state. And it can be challenging, I'll admit, at times to do that. Um, and yet it works beautifully because you're speaking the truth of who you are and you're not identifying. And this is something I wanted to say, that we become so used to identifying with our emotions. We feel sad, we feel anxious, we feel unworthy. It's not really emotion, but it's a state, and we identify it with so much, and
mhm,
we allow it almost to become an identity within ourselves, and then we're living from it and all of that. But when we're choosing to live as the true self, when we're making these inner statements to ourselves, these declarations of truth, the emotions that come along with that, the feelings that come along with that, I feel are the true emotions that we get to live from. And I just thought as well that with the Irish language, I'm not fluent in it at all, unfortunately. But the way in this language, the way it's spoken about emotions, like when we speak in English, we say, I am happy, I am sad.
mhm.
But in the Irish language, it said, happy is on me, sad is on me. And I
Oh,
just think it's a really beautiful way
it
to
is.
think about it. It's like, oh, this emotion is on me. It's not who I am. And I just think it's a really lovely way to kind of shift our relationship with our emotions. So we're not overly identifying with them and we're not getting lost or over processing them or whatever. It's anxiety is on me and it's going to lift,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
whatever it might be.
This is so beautiful. I had another coach for a while back, a couple of years back, and she said that when she was younger, she always said, like, I'm so anxious, I'm so anxious, I'm
Mm,
so anxious. She didn't say, I feel anxious, because you made it from even from the beginning of your argument, like what you want try to say earlier. You said, I feel, and
mm,
then it's never I am, because you know you can go on the negative and the positive. I am a runner. If you say I am a runner, I'm not just somebody that runs from times to times. I am a runner.
yeah.
And if you repeat that, how we say in Romania, like the repetition is the mother of learning, and you
Hmm.
repeat and you feel it and you do it, of course you run. Like you said about yesterday in the yesterday episode, you said um, about the athletes that imagine and know their greatness no matter
Yeah.
what day they had, like, or half a day, because sometimes they do more like in the same day. I believe they can have like they can train in the morning and then they have like a competition and then they train again and tomorrow again. And somebody said, like you said, like ask to this athlete, like, what do you believe about the fact that blah 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 you didn't do that well?
Yeah.
And she was like, I know who I am. I know like how much I work for this. Is
Yeah.
that identity always like? And when you say I'm anxious, it's part of your identity. And if you
Hmm.
repeat it that much, it's become your normality. Like you feel normal in that
Yeah.
affirmation, that declaration. But if you say I'm a runner or I'm free, I'm excited, I don't know, I'm blessed, I'm so lucky, I'm the luckiest person I know, and you really feel and believe that whatever that might be, it can
Hmm.
be on one side, on the other side as well. It depends how much how a lot of emotion you attach to it. This is what I
Mm,
wanted to say. It's like we said before, the emotions are coming and going. But if you put a lot of energy, a lot of focus, a lot of emotions over and over through repetition and believe it and feel it in your body in every cell, then it becomes your identity. But also, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says all the time, you start by knowing and deciding this is not for me, this is who I am, this version of me, it's not me anymore. And then I start changing that because I can bring the awareness and know this is a no, this is a no, this is a no, this is a no, before starting to create a new identity through the positive lens and what you want. You decide who you are not anymore. And
mhm,
then you come and you bring the awareness, and you don't entertain those thoughts, you don't repeat those affirmations, you don't identify as that person. And then you say he has different meditation through this. You move through that version, like that identity that you want to be, and then you reinforce that through repetition, through feeling, through action, through habits, to whatever you want, how you feel best doing it.
mhm. Yeah, I was in Dr. Joe's work for a long time and I really enjoyed it, but then I kind of hit a wall with it. I guess I could say I just started struggling with it. The whole
Mhm.
change aspect, it just wasn't clicking in for me for whatever reason. And I think it's because it was deeper stuff that just wasn't deeper identities that I wasn't realizing about myself. So for me, the shift really started happening where I decided to discover who I am first
Mhm.
with the awareness of the limiting identities and the conditioned identities. I was aware of them, but I needed to have something to anchor into fully, you know. So I know that know who you are not. It's one of your greatest teachers, your old self. Like the awareness of who you have been, how you have been, and all of that. It's one of your greatest teachers. And for me, I needed to make a decision on who I am even though my mind, my brain was screaming that is not true. You are not that. I was decided to use the Bible as a guide, like I've spoken about before. There are certain truths and laws about who we are that are repeated in that. And I decided to use that as kind of almost like a lifeline for myself. And even if you only had a few, it's like I know who I am. I am the best of what I do. I am full of love. My life is amazing, even if it's not. Whatever it could be that you know you truly want, I am, just pick them and use them as your center and build off it as you are releasing the old self. As you are, like you were saying, where you're stopping that old self from taking over. You're like Joe would say, you're stopping the addiction to the old self.
Mm.
And for me, I really needed to have
The
whether he was
anchor.
saying it or not, or whether somebody else was saying it or not, I was not hearing the truth of who I am in the middle of it. It might have been said, but I just I'm sure it was said, but I was just missing something in there for me. So it's like I needed to claim it for myself first, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. And
So
this makes so much, sorry, yeah.
no, 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 I was finished. That's okay. Yeah.
This makes so much sense because sometimes it's just hard to let go of that identity, and you need to see like at least this is how I see it, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like you needed exactly as an anchor, as you said it. You needed to feel that you can anchor and ground into
Mm.
something. And I believe a lot of us do the same. Like I've done it also, like because it gives me, I feel excited, I feel better, I feel happy when I'm kind of, when you're a kid and you want to go on vacation, even as an adult, like, oh, in 3 days we're going to go on vacation. You're so excited about that. We need as humans something to anchor, something to hold on into, something to be beautiful, and something that makes us feel alive and excited and more, whatever that might feel and means for each one of us. So it makes a lot of sense for me as well. Because this is, and again, this work, this is a reminder that I know I said so many times. Whatever we are saying here, you take it or leave it. You feel it. You have your own filter through which you move everything. Because for me can feel it in a certain way, for Joanne differently, for each one of you differently. But the idea here is for you to find a way to thrive and create and be in your greatness. Because for me, it's like everybody believes that I'm so structured and I have so much discipline and dedication. I have, but I'm like in my mind is, oh, my thoughts are up and down and up and down. And I can even feel in my body sometimes I'm happy and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I don't know what the heck is happening. And but this is normal. We are humans. Don't put so much pressure on you to be a certain way because then it becomes really heavy. And you
Hmm.
don't want that. You want to enjoy this experience that you already have right now and live in that. And then I believe, at least I believe that the more you enjoy, the more you are opening and allowing to receive and be that version of you. Because if it's always like, yes, I'm going to do A, B, C, and then I don't know, oh, I'm backwards. And again, I'm putting so much pressure. Do it the best way works for you, but just move with that energy and decision.
Yeah, I love that, and I agree with that. And it's coming back to that law that I heard from Eric in the Power of I Am. That channel is like, whatever the fuck works, works. You know?
Exactly.
And
I love
it's
that.
finding it and deciding, well, this is working for me. Because you can spend a lifetime in self-development and spiritual development while you're saying, this isn't going to work for me.
Yeah.
So if you're going to continue saying that, then you're going to
Find that.
pers
Have that.
yeah, it's going to happen, and you're perceiving it as not going to work before you've even begun.
Yeah.
And I have been guilty of that. So I'm speaking from experience, I know it. I think we've all probably done it at one
Oh,
point or another.
100%.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so many
This
times.
works for me. Of course it works for me.
Yeah.
Everything always works for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you said something. You said something like, even I'm going to say that my life is beautiful or wonderful, even though it isn't. And that kind of like, I wanted to touch on that
Mm.
because I sometimes believe that too. Like, I need my life to be more. I want to have a lot of things. I want to travel in, like, have those, not probably own one, but go in a luxurious boat with my friends. I dream about this, like drinking a cocktail on that boat and being with my friends. Who doesn't want that? Like, just
No.
enjoy it. Probably there are people that don't
Yeah,
want,
they're
but
like,
I
that's
want that.
misery. Yeah. But no, I love that. Yeah.
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 So like just dream about the and you said that maybe it's not amazing. Actually, what I believe that it is always amazing because yes, I may not have the boat now and I'm here in the office with you and it's really hot outside. Like,
Mhm.
but I have so many beautiful and amazing things in my life right now. And every time I remind myself that, my life gets richer and I'm more happier and I feel so alive because I know that the things that I like, the reality that I have right now, maybe 15, 18 years ago, I was dreaming so badly and so hard to have this reality. And then my life is amazing right now. And it can be even more because I'm creating that and that. But it's actually always from in the inside out
Mhm.
because you can, as we talked in the last episode as well, it's always that from, like, probably in every episode, that's coming from in. Everything moves through you, everything is about you, everything is how you feel inside and you create. You cannot look outside and expect and say I'm poor or I'm broke or nothing is working for me and my reality is this way, and then you want to feel good. You look inside because you're gonna create with your thoughts, with your attitude, with your perspective on the reality
Mhm.
that you have, and through your action, what you believe that's true, your story, changing them. Always,
Yeah.
always is starting from here. So the life, it's amazing. Yours, mine, and everybody else is the way it is right now. And we believing that and repeating that and seeing and finding the little evidence, whatever, how small they are right now, you build on that.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's like you said, it's coming back to the perception of your life. If your life can be whatever way it is, there are people who are multimillionaires who think their lives are crap, you know?
Mhm.
There are people who are living with very little who are madly in love with their lives.
Yeah,
And it is perception.
yeah,
So long as you're not living in physical danger
yeah,
outside of that, then it's a perception and it can be a really challenging one to shift. If life, if through the magnificence of who you've been has brought a life to life that you're not that enamored with, then it costs you. Like I just said, like we said
Mhm,
earlier about
mhm.
it's going to cost you a lot to
Yeah,
shift that perspective
yeah.
because it might not feel true. It might not seem true logically, but internally, if you can claim the truth that I love my life is magnificent, it's a masterpiece, I whatever, and keep stating that as your truth, and like you said, you will see it shift because you are shifting.
Yeah.
And to say it because you want to say it, but not so that things will change. And that's
Mhm.
the thing. Because if we're saying it for it to change, then we're always looking outside going, where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
And it's lack, not
Yeah,
abundance.
yeah. And there was something else that I wanted to just on that as well of it is all about perception, but then it's about our response or our reaction to things.
Mm.
Because if we are seeing if we're saying I love my life, it's amazing, and then something bad happens, you're like, oh no, how can that be part of an amazing life? Whereas if we can see everything always works out for me, everything moves in my favor, you're shifting your perspective of something that is not may not be very much fun or whatever it might be, but you're still choosing it. You're still choosing your perception of your whole life and not of this piece of it.
Yeah.
If saying that right.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is, I said this in another episode. I heard a lady on Instagram saying, you can build an empire and the life that you desire through hardship.
Mm,
Because the reality is the life will be lifey. And that identity once is set in place and in stone in a way. It's not in stone because you're always changing, but you know what I mean, like that backbone of who you are and that greatness, you can have really challenging moments because sometimes people are getting sick and things are happening. There are wars in the world that we cannot stop. It's not in our hands, but you can build yourself up. You can create whatever you want through your attitude, through how you react, how you respond, how your perception, your perspective, how you hold yourself into whatever. So we had this situation I told you, like in our family business, for some reason the site didn't work and we didn't have all the emails from possible clients. And my husband was like, oh no, these the guys with the internet and the site. And I was, you know what, let's see it from the other side. Look, this long list with a lot of clients that we're gonna call back, just see how abundant this is. It works. See that success, it's working. And we knew that it's working, but his reaction was like kind of a negative and lack in a way. And I was like, no, 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 I'm not going to focus on that because look at this. Because I went through all that list. Depends. So, and I could say, but I go back to something always. I don't want to forget where I'm coming from
mhm.
and how was my life at some point when was really hard, when my parents lost the apartment that we had in Romania and we needed to move from a place to another in years, not like right away. And all those, like, I was in the first or second year of university and I didn't have the money to buy a Coca-Cola for me, to go to the bar that was in front of the university. Honestly, I had a period that I didn't had, and I love Coca-Cola. Like it doesn't really mean, it doesn't say a lot about Coca-Cola, but it means it say a lot about the fact that I didn't have that money
Yeah.
to go and buy one, like
Mhm.
a drink. And I never want to forget that. Not because I'm going to put myself and always save and put on the carpet, everything, like don't take the clothes. I was back in Romania on days like put the beautiful clothes only on Christmas and Easter. And it's not about that to be like, I want to be real, I want to be practical, but I also want to realize how much like I've become, how many things I have achieved and overcome and did, and how much I've changed. And I'm kind of still the same because I'm the
Mhm.
same me, growing and expanding in different ways, in different versions of me and identity. But I want to be that girl that's always so grateful for all her journey and everything that she didn't have and now she has, and focus on the positive as much as I can.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a really good perspective to keep within ourselves so that I
Yeah.
don't think it's possible for a lot of us to shift into an identity where it's just so selfish and so self-centered and
Mhm.
all of that because we have moved through so much, we have seen so much, and to look back on who we used to be and the challenges that we had and the not being able to buy something so simple because the money just wasn't there. And in those moments, thinking back for myself, there were moments where it's like, I can't love my life. This is too hard.
Mm.
This is too hard and it's really painful. And sometimes it lasted for a long time. And then there'd be moments in that where some part of me would, for whatever reason, just ask my soul to just send me some gratitude, send me something. And it would come in some way. It's like the future self would send back love, send back gratitude, send
Mm.
back whatever, even though it's all existing now anyway. And I still do that now purposefully with who I am. I'll look back at who I used to be and I'll just send whatever love or, care or whatever it might be to that version of me that was
Mm.
struggling hard just to get through the days. And I think, it might have been in those moments you couldn't feel it, but because you were always now, no matter what, that version of you was feeling something then anyway, even though it was really hard,
Yeah.
and if anyone is listening and they're going through a really hard stage of life, to hear, and I was in it myself, to hear someone else say, love your life, love it. And you're saying, how can I love my life? How can I love this? If you can just go within yourself and just ask yourself to send back love, send back gratitude, whatever it might be, whatever you need, and be willing to feel it, be willing to receive it,
Yeah.
you know? And like I can feel it. It's almost like I can feel how I used to feel, but yet feel the love that was coming in at the same time. And it's like it's movements like that inside of yourself, boldness like that inside of yourself in times of hardship that really builds the true self that you not build the true self, but really brings you further home into the true self that you
Yeah.
are, that you always have been. And it
Yeah.
will give you the courage to continue to move and to continue to open up your vision to possibilities and open up your vision to how you really know life is and can be for you and who it is that you are in that,
Yeah. Oh,
and I
no,
think,
I totally agree. And I
mm,
could feel in you how that was so real. I
mm,
had these moments. I don't know if my thinking was, my thoughts were exactly the same, but for sure there were moments like I thought this is all there is. Like it's
yeah,
just too much struggle.
yeah,
Like
it's
it's
too
too much
hard.
struggle all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah. And when my mother had cancer, and there were moments in which you just look at yourself and you just think like this is all,
Mm,
this is all I'm gonna live. And I know there are people that it's really hard, and I loved what you said, find that love. It's like in a way like a bandage for the soul or a cleansing.
mhm.
It's like a hug, a warm hug that you connect with God,
Yeah.
how you spoke in the episode that will come out. Like um, it find something, whatever it is, a little, a small, that can give you that feeling of wholeness and love inside of you.
Mm,
So you can, because you can build on that. We believe that it has to be big all the time and all of the sudden a lot of things, but actually everything is built like this in little moments and
yeah.
kind of step by step inside of you. But I loved so much what you shared.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I know probably all of us, we went through, even how you said, like the people that have a lot of money, they, we don't know, you never know what's in a
No.
family, what's in a person's mind, and always send love. I always, even with the people that, let's say, not that I'm in conflict, but it's because I'm not, or But I just send like bless and release. If it's not, there's something that I don't want to feel or something that I don't want to interact with or be in the middle of it, I'm like always bless and release because
Mhm.
I don't know what anybody else is going through and nobody knows exactly what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I just thought of another time, and it might support somebody. And even when things are really great, you can use it as
Hmm.
well. That I remember the first time I said this, I was actually doing a Joe meditation, and I'd been doing them for quite a while, and nothing was moving. And it was just really intense. And I remember sitting in meditation and then coming out of it and just, I can't do this. I reached the end of my tether because I was trying to shift a lot in my life at the time. And I remember I just closed my eyes, and I don't know where the words came from, but I said, any and all threads of my soul that are in a position to help and support me now, please come online, please be
Mm.
here. And the same day, a few hours later, something came into my life that was able to shift so much for me. And I couldn't have made it happen, couldn't have made it up, all of these things. And since then, I've really believed that when we call on our full soul, who is
Mm.
potentially everywhere, and there's going to be threads of that who can be here with you now and helping you, threads of God, if you want to say it like that.
Yeah.
Just And it might simply be, it might not be an external thing that happens. It might be an internal feeling of, I'm going to be okay today. It might be something like that. And when things are really good, and when you're like, oh my God, how is it this good? And you're like, so I need you to come in and help me move through this, please. And it's the expansion of, I'm going to be okay. So yeah, find your way, find your way in it.
Yeah, everybody, like a lot of people talk about this. It has to be something that goes deeper because if
Mm,
at the surface you can desire whatever you want to desire. There's no
yeah.
limit on that. You can receive whatever you want, but it's not gonna, how can I say, hold you together for long if it's just something at the surface that's like superficial.
Yeah.
You're gonna go on the negative side easier. But if you go deep and you find the why, and you ask and you receive the guidance and the best way you can, you implement that guidance inside of you, then you will see a shift and you will find that peace. For me, I believe I said in another episode, like peace has been a big one I was craving for a long time. Like really having that internal peace and feeling at peace with myself and the world and not being always so responsible for everyone. Was something that at some point I was like, I had enough of this. I was just asking just too much from my being and finding that peace. But I wanted to say something else also between like the power and the peace, where I said it in another episode, where when you find that peace and you're okay with where you at right now. I have been done lately, I've done a lot of reels, and part of them was always like, be okay with your current reality, love where you are at right now in this present moment, because I know if I'm going and putting too much pressure on me, and I know a lot of people do the same, then it's not happening because it's
Mhm.
coming from lack, because you're just putting pressure and you're just like trying to put yourself down in a way, and don't let, you're not in the identity of greatness. You're like chasing and grabbing and hassling, and this is why when you love the best you can, because we are humans and you're going to have moments, but you come back to that, then you are at peace where you are and in your power. And in your power, you know your power can use it for in your best to go towards whatever you want or on the negative.
Yes.
We are that powerful to
Mhm.
use the power. Depends on some people, they are like, I don't have a lot of power. I don't know. I cannot try. You actually have a lot, but you're just using it on the wrong direction. So that's
100%.
that's something that I really want to your take on it as
Yeah.
well.
No, I really agree with that. And I think we were speaking to something very similar before you hit the record button of, we have always been manifesting. We are always manifesting. And it's that power that we are that's doing that. The God self that we are is, for want of a better way, being used for our good or for our not good. Let's say it that way, whatever way
Mhm.
you want to say it. But I agree, our power is always here. We use it through our perception, through our self-concept. We put it to work for how we want life to go, and we put it to work for how we don't want things to go. So going back to my own, what I was saying earlier about life being really hard, and it was, I was using my power by continuing to tell the story of how hard it was.
Yeah.
Of living in the identity of life is really hard. Using my power to feel the emotions of stress and all of that. And then knowing on some level that I could use my power for my good, but not believing it was possible for me. That in itself was using my power. And this is where the shift gets to happen. My power, your power is always here. And it's the God that I am is always here. And it's turning the dial internally of life is always moving in my favor. Everything always works out for me. I love my life. I love who I am. And what you were saying there a few moments ago about loving life as it is now, if you were able to say that internally to yourself and notice the shift of there's no attachment, it's a really wonderful feeling to notice, even if it's just for a moment. It's like, I love life now, because you're not trying to, like you said, shift anything or take anything away. And that is an anchoring of your power that brings in so much peace.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. And in those moments when you are like, you can dream about having and manifesting, exactly as you said, we're always manifesting whatever you desire. But if it's always from luck, it's like you're
mm,
running from yourself in a way,
mm,
because you're never here fully in your body, in the present moment, in your being connected with your soul and your greatness. You're like always chasing something. And I know the feeling. This is why I'm saying with this conviction, because I know the feeling, like really chasing. And the moment you just stay and you take a walk in the nature, as I said, and then all of a sudden I had this, like I feel so expanded and dreaming that I'm gonna be there and there, and who's gonna stop me of
yeah,
dreaming that or believing that that can be my truth? Only me, to be
exactly.
honest, because can come people and say, yeah, I don't believe it, that's true. Maybe you don't even need to share with anybody if you don't feel like I want to share, or I'm afraid that, don't share with anybody. It's yours. Expand into that. Like really let yourself to build. What I saw that a lot of people, this is how I started to feel more like my greatness and to feel it in my body. A lot of people don't take the time to be with themselves,
Yeah.
to discover what I'm really feeling right now. Am I allowing myself to be in my power? Am I at peace with where I am right now? What am I capable of even? Like I'm asking, do I take the time to ask myself that and see it and feel in the body? It can be such a small shift,
Mhm.
but the more you do it, this is how I started to connect with the higher self or whatever that version, because it was hard for me. I kind of wanted to, at some point was hard because I kind of wanted to jump from here there all of a sudden. And it doesn't work like that, because you've been that version so many years and done all the things and you're so familiar with it. You need to take, and what I do for me, it's always like my hands on my heart and I'm breathing a little bit, closing down my eyes, and I'm just like dropping in my body and I'm sitting there. I don't stay like long because the monkey brain is like, okay, okay, do you need to do this and that? Like you forgot about that. Like,
Yeah.
but it's enough, like even 30 seconds to just
Mhm.
close down the eyes and be, and kind of come back and be so present here. There's nothing to fix. I always say in my sessions, in my breathwork session, in my membership, there's nothing to fix here. There's nothing for you to, it's not the right or wrong version of the session. It is you, whatever that feels in your body.
Mhm.
And then I build on that more and more. And this is why I know what a yes feels in my body and know how I want to be. Slowly but surely, I've been building on that.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. And I've done something very similar. And also, when I first started doing it, I realized not to accept the first answer that came straight in.
Mm.
Because, if you're asking yourself, well, how am I truly feeling? The mind will come in, but you're feeling like this. And it's it's the unraveling of the kind of the potentially decades of feeling a certain way and thinking of yourself in a certain way that and it is that it allows the space internally for the peace and power of who you are to come forth because it has always been in there. And I think it's a really lovely practice to do, even when you're very practiced at it. It's a really lovely practice to do with yourself. Like even as we've been speaking, there's been certain moments where I've needed to do the same thing. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot moving through me at the moment anyway, from personal things that I'm moving through and all of that. And this was something that I wanted to say as well, that when we are making that shift in perception truly into the truth of who we are, into this real God self or godlike self, as you would say, that the nervous system is going to feel it. Because when we are shifting ourselves back into the truth of who we are, there is so much more power in that. There's so much more power in that. So our body, our nervous system will have an adjustment period with that. It's like having an electrical system in your house. If you're bringing more power in, there's certain things that need to be done within that system so that it doesn't explode and burn your house down. And it can be the same with this as well. So this is for me personally, it is having time in silence. It's having time in nature. It's having time just to be, without any recoding, without any imaginings of the future or of what you want to bring to life. It's the stillness in it, for me at least. It's allowing the stillness to recalibrate. And I don't even like using that word, but it's allowing the stillness to bring my body and bring my nervous system to the level that it was designed to be. Because we came in wired with our divinity, like I've said before, and our bodies know how to hold this kind of power. We just need to give it a little bit of grace because it's the most dense of who we are.
Yeah.
So, and breath work can be a really great way of doing that also, obviously.
Yeah, through breath work, if you allow yourself, and it depends on the session, depends on the
Yeah.
person, depends on the day, how
Yeah.
you're feeling, but you can open so much. This is something that I love all the time because I can start with a person or be in a group because I have the membership or one-on-one in the group and see how that person feeling the energy that's like closed and the heart is closed and the front of the heart and the back of the heart because through the back we receive more. And after one session, two session, three, five, four, six, seven, you see that person. You always, when you start the session, you just feel like opening. The heart is so open, and this you cannot put a price on it because it's so beautiful, and it
Mhm.
makes you feel it's so interesting because I never feel like, wow, now this thought just came into my mind. I never feel like, wow, look at me, I'm so good at this. For me, it's more like I am proud that I can read the energy and all of that and hold those sessions and hold the people. But it's more like a feeling of like a friendship, a hug, like feeling so excited for that person that they can allow themselves to be their truest selves and they can come back to themselves and to that greatness because I love people and I love life and I want to see people thrive. I want to thrive, but it's not fun to thrive by yourself.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it's never fun that you want to have people around you that go in trips, do have conversation, this type of conversation, and like have big tables with friends and eat and share and do the things. And sometimes, yes, be in silence. I love being by myself,
Mhm.
exactly what you said. And the more I'm doing this work, the more I need to be more by myself. And this is why I'm going for the run, for my walks. I'm going by myself in the city. It's not far away, like it's not like it's a big city, but, and I'm doing the things a lot through me. What I'm teaching and preaching and saying, it's exactly what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I'm trying to live because it's my journey. I'm always sharing through my journey. I cannot share in other way. I don't know, maybe other people can do it, but for me, it's always through me. And coming back to the perspective and perception, I can always look, you can have a story. I can take the story of my life. And actually, I saw somebody doing this on Instagram and was so powerful. The same story she presented in two ways. Oh my goodness, when she put it on the negative, you were like, it's the end of the world. And the same story, she put it to the positive. It was the same situation happening, but with different perception, response, all of that. It's so powerful. You're like, just take whatever story you want. I'm really challenging you. Take one story in your life and put it through the lens of this is so bad. This is the end of the world, so negative. My father did that. My mother did that. And it's true. It's
Mm-hmm.
valid, but you can see it through different lens, through a different angle that can take you in closer to your soul and your greatness, or that can take you in a human that's not happy at all, that is going on a spiral that's not going in a beautiful direction, not even one bit.
And it's only us that can do that. We're the only ones who can make that decision.
Yeah.
You know, we're the only ones who can shift how we see things, how we perceive things from the inside out, as we have
Yeah.
said so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel
Mm.
complete for.
I feel I do. And I think just one last thing is with all of this shifting,
Mhm.
um, to give ourselves as much grace as possible in that process, in that way. To realize to yourself, or if you feel like you've fallen back or whatever, to acknowledge what you're doing, shower yourself with grace and say, look,
I
this is what
agree.
I'm doing for my life. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for everybody in my life. And it can take the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I've done a reel that I didn't post it yet, but now that you said it with the grace, I always say this in my containers, in whatever life I'm doing, exactly the same with the grace and compassion and love. Because I thought that I was loving myself, and this was something that I realized 3 years ago. I was saying like through my words, but really when I started to work on it and feel it, I was like, oh, I don't believe I'm just saying this and I'm buying stuff that I love because I love having different stuff. But am I really seeing myself in my power? Am I really
Mm,
loving myself even when I cannot bring whatever I said that I will bring in to the house, like money wise or
yeah.
whatever? You can be relationship, your time, your energy, whatever. Am I truly loving, or I'm putting myself down, or I'm like criticizing myself or whatever? And something that I always say to everybody to come back to is to enjoy the present moment and the reality that you have. And with that comes a lot of self-love, like to
Mm,
be okay and at peace where you are right now,
mm,
because we all want this and that and that and everything, and we're doing a lot of work on ourselves. But just be exactly as you said, right, at some point, like don't always visualize everything, don't always put give yourself time to be a human, like, and just be like a kid, like do whatever you want to do and enjoy
yeah.
that with no regret or no pressure or no comparison or whatever.
Mhm,
Yeah, so self-love
mhm,
as much as you can, grace, compassion, time
yeah.
for you.
Mhm. Yeah, sorry, I'm barking a lot.
Is shifting
But
the energy in the
yes,
body. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so true. It's so easy to get very hard on yourself when you're doing stuff like this, and quite unknowingly until you notice it,
Mhm.
because it is a conscious effort to shift back into your greatness. It is a conscious effort to pay the price of the old self. And that requires, like you said, love, grace, at times patience, and some time off every now and then,
Yeah,
just to be.
just to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Joanne.
Thank
Another
you.
episode, another beautiful one.
Mhm.
And if you want us to have a different topic, whatever that might be, please put it in the comments always. And always take what resonates with you and what doesn't, put it aside. You're the one deciding. Everything moves through you and everything is
All about you.
all about you. We love you. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Peace. Bye.
Bye.